talk today about our experience with OpenStack. Talk about how we changed the way Liveperson consider the site as a technology, and how it took us to the next level in terms of infrastructure and cost efficiency. Okay, so going through the agenda, I'm going to talk about a quick introduction to Liveperson, just to get you into the context of what Liveperson does and how it applies on the OpenStack. I'm going to talk about the story, how it was for us in the old days, how it is today, and I'm going to talk about what's cooking in our lab, and I'm going to finish with some tips to help us through the way. Okay, so quick introduction about myself. Started my career in '99. Been with Liveperson since 2012, January. Married with 3 kids, and love everything to do with virtualization, automation, big data, and beer. Okay, so quickly about Liveperson. Liveperson been around since '98. We are a SaaS company. Even before it was called SaaS. 8 out of 10 Fortune 500 are customers. 8,500 in total, I think. And our mission statement is to create meaningful connections to our customers in their website, implementing the sales and the customer satisfaction through our live engagement tools. A bit about the volume that you understand later on what the OpenStack need to deal with. So we're talking about 13 terabytes of data per month. We're talking about 20 million engagements. When I'm saying engagements, I'm talking about chat, video, and voice. And we're dealing with 1.8 billion visits per month in our customers' sites. Okay, so I'm going to talk about, in a nutshell, about Liveperson technology. Also important to understand what we do with the OpenStack. So, like a SaaS company, we have in a nutshell 3 tiers. The first tier is the web layer tier, which we mainly use Apache and HAProxy, and some IIS for our legacy systems. In the second tier, in our up tier, we are a Java company. So we use a lot of Tomcat and JBoss. And in the data store, as you can see, we have a bunch of them. We have Cassandra, Vertica, MySQL, Couchbase, Oracle, and Hadoop. Especially part of the Hadoop, by the way. We just passed the 1 petabyte in each data center we have across the world. So the first 2 layers are running on the OpenStack. This is most of the instances in Liveperson. So, what were our minimum requirements when we looked for a solution? Like I said before in the panel, that a year and a half ago we decided that we want to go as much as virtualized as possible. So we started thinking about it. So we had this in mind. We wanted a solution for our non-persistent servers, such as the web tier and the app tier. We wanted to be able to scale to thousands of VMs, so it's commodity servers. We need a lot of servers in a cost-efficient manner, of course. And we wanted to transform our infrastructure into a platform as a service style, which I'm going to show you later on how we did it as well. Okay, in the old time.
May I ask you, why is it obvious that you've switched to virtualization, though there is a non-persistent here? Why
With your permission, I'll take this question at the end. Okay? It's a very good question. In the old days, when we wanted to bring up a new service, we used the operations need to work with VMware and physical servers, mainly with a very small footprint of VMware back early in 2012. And of course, it cost a lot of money and a lot of time, and then we had a new service. So it's not that the VMware is a great solution, on the contrary, of course, but looking at our minimum requirement, if you remember, so we wanted to use our commodity servers, and we wanted it to be cost efficient, so the OpenStack was the best solution for us. So today, this is our status today. Today, we were able to bring, with this technology, to bring a PaaS service to our production and to our IT environments. Okay, in production, our customers are operations. Operations that need to deploy new services, they do it in a click of a button. As many as they want every day. We're going to talk later on about the tools of how we did it. So before OpenStack, like you can see, we had most of the servers. Liveperson were until 2012 were all about physical servers and some little footprint of VMware. And today, it's mostly OpenStack. The same footprint of the VMware stayed the same, and the physical servers are mostly for the data store and of course for the OpenStack hosts. Okay, so looking at the architecture of OpenStack and Liveperson, so those are the projects that we use today. As you can see, the hypervisor is KVM, like most users. Something special here is that we use local disks as the storage. Okay, I'm going to talk about what node exactly we are using, but non-persistent, remember I said non-persistent solution, so we didn't have any need for centralized storage, distributed storage, safe cluster, whatever. It was best for us and the most cost-efficient thing for us to go with the local disks. And of course, I mentioned before Puppet, so there is, since the servers are not persistent, so we can bring up new servers with the Puppet every time we need it. Also mentioned that we are Ubuntu based. We started back then in the fourth release with Diablo, which wasn't production ready. And when? Not yet. It wasn't production ready, and when the fifth distribution went out, the SX, we started with the SX in production in mid-2012. So, like I mentioned, we do everything with Puppet, end-to-end. And we have, Liveperson have 4 main data centers, 2 in North America, 2 in Europe, very big data centers. And we have small data centers for staging, dev, QA.
How many physical machines do you manage with OpenStack?
How many physical machines do I manage with OpenStack?
How many actual servers are you running?
Let's not talk about physical, but we have in total, Liveperson has something like let's say 2,500 servers, and 1,500 from them are OpenStack instances. Okay, and something like 300 are OpenStack hosts. Okay.
I'm not really familiar with
I'm gonna have it's a very good question because I have a slide.
300 computers running 1,500 VMs.
1,500 VMs and over 300
computers. Physical.
Yeah. So this is a real snapshot from our production environment. You can see here that the images used mostly are CentOS 6.4 and some, like I mentioned before, because we have to. Some for the legacy system, some Windows. Mostly Linux, of course. In terms of flavors, as you can see, if you didn't touch OpenStack before, you can write any flavor you want. You can try whatever you want. For us, it's all about small instances with 2 cores and 4 gigabytes of RAM. For the Apache, for the Tomcat, for the JBoss, they don't need a lot of cores, but we do have implementations for bigger instances with 12 cores and 15 gigabytes of RAM. So it's possible, and you can do much more than that if you need. Okay, it's up to you. Okay, so regarding the good question we had here about the numbers of the instances. So this is a very graph actually. You can see here that we started in mid-2012, and building our confidence slowly but surely. You can see that in early 2013, we decided, okay, we're going with the OpenStack all the way, and you can see the big jump here that we transferred everything from physical to OpenStack, and continue growing only with the OpenStack. So today we have something about 1,500 only in production, not counting the dev, QA, whatever. only in production, this is the number. Also, we are reaching the 300 hosts. Does this answer your question? So in terms of physical nodes, this is what we use today. It's not what we started in. It's not all what we have in production. We have even, like I mentioned before, commodity servers, what we had, what we use. Because you don't need to put any license or whatever, so take whatever you want and put it in. So today, our physical building block node is one new server, 2 sockets with 6 cores, 128 gigabytes of RAM, 8 disks in RAID 10, and based on 210 gigabytes. This is the new configuration. This is how we're going to go from now on. If you want to start and you have servers that you can use, you can use whatever you have. You don't need to buy. Let's case you have something from VMware. Okay, so if you're going with VMware, because you're buying the license, you need to put a lot of power into the server, a lot of RAM and a lot of cores, because you want to use as much as you can your license. So here you can take whatever you want, put it into the cluster, and just use it.
Is there any particular difficulty with managing heterogeneous hardware types?
Yeah, there is a challenge here if you need to use SAN hardware, which is x86, of course. We had some problems before. We needed to upgrade the BIOS and the Ubuntu kernel to support it. So we did have some challenges. It's best, of course, if you can go with 1 or 2 types of hardware, but it's not a must. Okay.
And have you deployed different versions of OpenStack over time?
Yeah. So we started, like I said, with the SX in production. We upgraded to Folsom, and now in the process, we already have Grizzly in our staging environment. And we are going to upgrade to Havana end of January.
Do you move workloads from one release to another, or do you try to upgrade in place?
Okay, this is a very good question. I'm so familiar with OpenStack, so with the SX, we didn't have the one project. Okay, it was Nova Network, and it was very hard to deal with. So moving to the Folsom, running with the Quantum, we had to build the cluster from scratch. Okay, so it was not possible the way we implemented the SX. It was not possible for us to just online upgrade the cluster. So we needed to rebuild the cluster, and with Folsom we are upgrading online with no downtime. So we are working on it, and we have a plan in motion. So that's it for us for building new clusters. Yeah.
If you're already at the topic,
Okay.
How do you deploy new physical nodes with
Puppet. Tell you the truth, it's with the SX and the Folsom, the Puppet was not perfect. Okay, we needed to add some scripts of our own to support the networking layer. Okay, creating the bonds and the VLANs and whatever. And we see now that the Puppet is much better in Grizzly and Havana.
You don't use the Nova bare metal to install the Ubuntu on the...
No, in terms of physical server, we use today Kobi. We're going to use Foreman in the near future. I'm going to talk about it. So we are installing the cobbler, and we're installing with the cobbler, and the Puppet and the script is working from there. Okay. So exactly what we just talked about. So in our lab, what we're doing right now is that we're checking the Foreman. Stupid Ohad is not here. We have one lady from Red Hat who wrote the Foreman, which is here in the sun. So the Foreman for us is the one-stop shop for provisioning, for a Puppet dashboard, for deploying new services, to deploying and to upgrade the existing services. If you didn't see it until now, I really suggest you do. especially if you are Puppet users. It will enable us, of course, to give it to the least professional personnel to work with it because it's a very simple GUI. You can drag and drop if you need a specific building block to work with you, or you need to deploy new services. So it's very easy. It's not very easy to implement. It's very easy to use. The implementation is still in process. Another thing, because we are Puppet users, are there any Puppet users here? Okay. So if you're familiar with Puppet, if you don't use, by the way, any kind of chain configuration system like Chef, Puppet, Ansible, so I really recommend. It's a basic recommendation. But if you do use Puppet, M-Collective is the orchestrator. So we use M-Collective to manage our data centers. With the M-Collective, you have out-of-the-box plugins to manage data centers, and you can write your own plugin. So we give our R&D will write their own plugins, and then using it to roll out in production, doing sanity checks, taking it out of the load balancer, bringing it in back. So it's going to be very strong with us. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is heat accelerometer. Okay, you heard a lot about it here. We started with checking heat even before it was in the Havana release. And we are building on it to use it for our scaling, of course. OpenStack, of course, is also dear to our R&D. We use it not only in production. Before OpenStack, we had still do a very big footprint of VMware in our IT. And the IT guys and the R&D, which are the customers of the IT, are not very pleased with it. And we introduced OpenStack for them. And they got the ability, they got their own quota and the resources, and they could do whatever they want. So they were very happy with it, and we plan on replacing the VMware with OpenStack all around this year.
Can you explain why or they have to?
It's not because of the technology. Okay, it's because of, I think it's more about the logistics in Liveperson around it. With the IT guys, with the R&D. So here with the OpenStack, they needed to go and get the budget to get the VM because it's very costly. Okay, and with the OpenStack, it's much easier in terms of cost efficiency. So I want to talk a minute about if you're planning on introducing OpenStack to your company, and so I think it's quite a challenge because you know probably your managers or whatever. If you come from a company which are used to vendors and VMware and feel comfortable in production with things that they heard a lot about, and they can pay for it, and can pay for support, whatever. So it's not an easy thing. I would suggest here that you start very small. If you want to start something, take a couple of servers, install the Havana, put some QA, give some QA guys some instances. Start very slowly, build your confidence, and then you'll see that in a few months the need, how do you say it? You build it, they will come. But okay, so what is the difference between money? Okay, just if you can give what is the difference between using VMware? Okay, what is TCO of VMware with regards to present? Okay, this is actually an easy question. OpenStack is free, and because it's free, you don't have to consider the hardware you're using. because with the VMware you need to pay for the license, right? And you need to put it on a decent server when you can bring up as many instances as you can, because you pay for it, right? So here you can take whatever servers you have.
So what's the problem to say to the CEO of the company, guys, this was mine, that's it. The second question that is, how big is the team that managed VMware,
Okay.
and how big is the team that managed right now OpenStack?
Okay. So regarding the first question about why is it a problem convincing the management to go to OpenStack. So like I said before, it's a new technology. They don't they can if they want, but they don't pay for it, and it's something that they're not used to. They like to pay for things and they get support and get the back and they have a vendor behind, like most enterprise companies. So it's a project only I think 3 years old. So confidence is building. And then, each year, more and more companies are using the OpenStack. So I think that in a couple of years, even this question will be not relevant anymore. Regarding the second question, please remind me.
The amount of people.
The amount of people. Okay, it's not a fair question because we have OpenStack everywhere in Liveperson. It's like production and IT, and the VMware is a very, very small footprint. Okay, so we have 2 guys for the VMware. Okay, 1.5. And for the OpenStack, we are like I mentioned, we are a DevOps team. So we have a lot of things to do. We're not doing only OpenStack. We're also doing automation and big data and a lot of things. So it's a part of our DNA now. So and it's the most important infrastructure in Liveperson. So everybody in the team knows about OpenStack, and we have a tech lead for the OpenStack. Okay, you can give him a chuck now. And this is how we do it. Okay, so I can give you a specific head count. I think it's around 2.
Can you normalize people per server or people per virtual server?
We used to talk about number of headcount per servers, but I don't believe in it anymore. It's very hard to say. I think that you don't need to count servers at all. You need to count services and clusters, especially now with the heat and ceilometer. So I can't really answer that question. You used to say 30 or 60 servers per 1 headcount, but
That's still how many people you have in your team. That's it. That probably
Okay.
will be sufficient for the guy.
but bear in mind that we do a lot of other stuff.
You already mentioned the list.
So
of
the headcount in my team is, I think today is around 10.
That's all?
One second. I'll get to the, I want to show this one. Okay, so we need to be 10.
And we've been talking about, a wallet company, and how you manage the images, all the other sentence with this project.
How do we manage the images? We have a golden image, which we maintain. Something like every 6 months or so. And it's the same image everywhere. And of course, for live instances, we treat them as regular servers if they need to stay alive. So we patch them using a CentOS menu. So I don't think it's different from any else.
Just 10 people on this OpenStack and Hadoop.
Sorry?
Just 10 people to manage all this.
A lot of the OpenStack, Hadoop, Puppet, the production. We are in charge of the entire production.
This is beside the people that you are using for maintenance, or
No. Okay, this is a very good point. We do have also, we are engineering group. We do have operations which push the buttons, okay, which use the the PaaS, the platform as a service problem that I showed before, they use it to put new instances.
So
we do have
how many
operations.
people you have in the maintenance team for that matter?
For creating new instances and deploying with Puppet the new services on them, I think there is one or two. Okay, so it's very easy. You run the script that uses the API, and then you use the Puppet to deploy the service.
And you don't have any maintenance that you need to do day-to-day
Monitoring, logging, backup.
dealing with...
No, production, I'm sorry if I confused you. Production is a bigger group. Production in Liveperson is something like 60 personnel. Okay, so we have NOC, we have tier 1 system specialists, and we have monitoring team, and we have operations, and we have engineering. Okay, so in engineering, I mentioned my team, which is the DevOps, but we also have the data team for the MySQL, Vertica, Cassandra, Oracle, and we have networking team. So it's not 10 people running Liveperson for that.
Kobi, can you speak about your general vision from the perspective? I'm referring to that auto-scaling thing will be working soon, right? So you will be deploying that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What's your vision of adding, in terms of auto-scaling is working, how you will be adding these new nodes to the load balancer? What's the automation procedure you are looking for, in this case?
Okay, with the heat, like I mentioned, it's still in the lab, and after deploying, after upgrade to Havana early next year, we're going to start using it. But for us, it's going to be from scratch. We are in a point now in Liveperson where we are building our product almost from scratch, so we build new clusters. So from day one, most of them will be stuck in the heat because it's a very big challenge taking existing clusters and put them into the heat stack. Okay, but if you're starting from scratch, and this is where we're going to start, we're going to see later on about existing clusters. I think it's going to be easier. I can't say more about it because we don't have the experience yet. Maybe next 5 minutes. It's a lot of time.
How dynamic or static is your production workload? I mean, are you constantly provisioning new VMs and killing them, or?
No. Okay. It's with the heat, it's going to be a lot more dynamic, but 99% of the VMs that we are booting are standard, are very stable. Okay, so it's not and we are booting new instances every day, daily. So growing very fast, but not reducing existing instances yet. Just growing.
How much memory do you provision per VM?
So like I showed in the flavors slide, it depends on, like I said, it's Apache, JBoss, and Tomcat. So it's mainly 2 cores with 4 gigabytes of RAM, sometimes even only 2 gigabytes of RAM. And we have a specific application, internal application, 300 instances of it that runs with 12 cores and 15 gigabytes of RAM. Yeah.
And I know that Liveperson is around compliance and regulations. How this is solved within the OpenStack environment?
So,
did you have this test?
Yeah, actually, it's a good question. I mentioned a few times before, we're using the OpenStack for non-persistent servers. We don't have any data on them, any data that we need. So, in terms of data stored on the OpenStack, there is none. And when we are eligible to a PCI environment, in some cases, so it's a different story. Okay, our Liveperson farm is only partly PCI compliant and only for the customers that we need. Okay, so it's a bit of a different story here. Yeah.
Frankly, being my question from earlier, it looks like the slide is right about.
So please
why
remind me.
virtualize? Why virtualize?
Why visualize? Okay, so
It's a huge
it's like digging in the archives. The Liveperson until 2011, I think, end of 2011, was mostly working with the Windows physical servers and the Sun servers. So starting 2012, we started to grow very, very fast. Of course, not using virtualization, it's like, you know, when you're looking at your monitoring systems and your trends, and you see that most of your resources are not utilized. So this is why I don't think I need to explain why virtualization is a good thing, of course.
Well, depending on the workload, right? Some of the huge web companies in the world does not use virtualization.
Okay, for us, the workload was virtualization was justified. Okay, so the workload was not high, although you saw the volume that we use in production, but we have a lot of servers, and just makes
So
sense.
your feeling is that it's utilization of resources and not maintenance?
Utilization of resources and cost efficiency is the first thing, okay? You pay a lot of money when you're hosting your own data centers across the world, and you want your footprint to be as small as possible, and using only physical servers, especially when they are not fully utilized, it's a big waste. So going to virtualization is, in most cases, smart. So there are cases which is not.
From the numbers, it sounds like you're not utilizing the servers too much. It's like you're running 4 or 5 VMs per server, and when you said only 2 or 4 gigabytes of RAM, so you're not stressing
we do have. So we had a lot of servers, a lot of physical servers back then. So we put them, most of them into the clusters. We had a lot of capacity left to bring more instances. So it's true. We have some cases when you have 10 instances on one server, even 20 on some cases, not many, but 10 is there a lot. But in most cases, it's running between 4 to 5. Okay, and we're doing today.
So you're not overcommitting the servers.
Sorry?
You're not overcommitting the servers, basically.
We overcommitting, we oversubscribing everything to do with the CPU, but today we're not oversubscribing the disk space and the RAM. The disk space is local, so it's not a good thing to do. Yeah.
You said in the panel that you are going to check Docker.
We want to.
Because that will solve those problems.
It's not a problem. It's like I said, we have a lot of capacity that we can utilize better the existing infrastructure.
Docker is coming instead of a traditional VM.
Yeah, Docker is a new thing. It's a container. We're not into it. We're just talking about it. We're going to study a lot about it. I think it's going in the right direction. So it's something that we want to look at. Yeah,
Last question.
Last question.
Are there any tier 1 or enterprise level application that you will not run on OpenStack, and why?
Oracle.
Why?
First, it's not supported, and it's a thing for us to be supported with the Oracle. Besides that, I can say that I will not mind putting everything on OpenStack if it's not production. On our staging and the dev environment, Oracle included, even using Savannah for their do.
Why not production?
Okay. Because like I mentioned, we don't, the data store layer is fully utilized, fully utilizing the physical servers. Okay, so there's no sense on putting them on the OpenStack. Okay, things like Cassandra, Couchbase, Hadoop especially, when they need a lot of local storage, so it doesn't make sense to virtualize them. And everything else, OpenStack. Okay, last question? It's okay.
That was more or less my question.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.